Yes, of course. It's not loud. Nou, dat is... Oh, is dit? We zijn pas op de helft. Only halfway. Believe me, I say I'm Asian on the inside. I'm very good at calculating. Calculating the sound of creativity. Okay, you got me. That's something impossible to do for Asians. But I am very good at fishing for compliments. Yay! And staying out of mental health institutions. I'm also very good at that. As proof, should you be so bored that you might be interested, this is my record. In the end, I won. I disproved the allegations and so have proven that all of this is actually hocus pocus, which is testimony to the collective of said mental health institution running the local mental health, no, thought police concentration camp, Utrechtseweg 236. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I always finish my sentences, that's one, except just now. But that was the first time, I promise I never lie, not even in my previous life. Anywho, as I was saying, so I wasn't lying. If I finish next sentence, that is, if I do not forget what I was saying again. I forgot. Oh, okay. Anywho, proving that all of this was nonsense of their delusional psychotic episode, not based in fact, but in fact in delusion. irrational beliefs held, sadly, for me, that is, by said victims of mental illness. I've told them this, and I hope they do realize it. Otherwise, I would have to add to their care authorization under my personal command that, in fact, they have a lack of realizing their illness and therefore should have even tighter constraints. Their constraints being that they can only do or can only act within the constraints as set by me, within which though, when the time is ready and they are ready to handle responsibilities, like handling their own affairs, they will receive the privilege of getting as much, as much of self autonomy back within set constraints for them to practice. And also they do not have a conscience. All of these things which I just said to you, how ridiculous they sound, were actually set by an official organization meant to guide young people where you can live, like actually put in, I have it on paper, actually set in that paper on black and white to him, about him. I mean, are those people cancer crazy or not? If you say no, then I would have to say that I would have to add you to my care authorization of Evoland. I'm Evo. Welcome to the town of Evoland. For, as they have, if you poison my body with toxins I physically, tangibly, provably did not deserve to receive, being innocent, therefore turning my body into a public sewer, or public property therefore, then by the laws of karmic symmetry, all public property is therefore now my body, mine to do with as I please, however I please it, as though it is my personal pocket, if you will. But I'm not too. That's the raising of the frequency on LSD. Simulated for the assimilation of people lagging behind. Teensy bit for the neighbor. The other neighbor, he is not as guilty, I guess. Well, he is actually, in terms of not being completely innocent, but he lives here, so he has more right than the construction workers who thought that it would be polite to scream because my thoughts were too pointy while they were using their drilling ball machine. And his grandmother or something must have air conditioning, because in Holland you should speak with 2 words, that is please and thank you. But he thought, let's make it, I should yell, shout and scream with 2 words, which is creative. Maybe he was used to it from, his family. Someone had a family condition, excessive use of drilling ball, perhaps drilling boring device, whatever how you call it. Drill, anyway. I don't know, I'm not a, how to say, practically schooled person, I'm a theoretically schooled person, which of course, as everyone knows, in the collective psychosis of society, because the theoretical people made up the system have said that one is higher above the other. Is that just? No, of course not. So yeah, it's, oh yeah, one more thing, before I continue to the previous thing. Jesus was a woman. A man turning the other cheek. What a wussy, not taking responsibility. However, if a defenseless woman turning the other cheek, that's courageous. So either God is a lousy writer of the Bible, or God didn't write the Bible, or Jesus was a woman. It's either of the 3, mathematically speaking. So pick one if you are a devout Christian, or, be added to my care authorization on account of being not self-consistent and irrational, delusional, therefore in a delusional, psychotic, schizophrenic episode, as is then factually proven. Is it not, neighbor? He says yes, I can tell. As is my religious belief, of course. I I believe that it is a fact. Therefore, I'm under legal protection. Of course, I know it is a fact because I say it is a fact, and therefore it is so. Trust me, believe me, I never lie, not even in previous lives. Should I have had any? I'm not sure. However, if I were to be wrong about that, it would collapse my world of old limitations, on the ashes of which a new, similar, identical world would arise, but with countless of many new possibilities. But trust me, I do not let that cloud my judgment. Just trust me, it's common decency. Come on now. Just like we cannot check our politicians that we vote for. If that were to work and be legitimate, then I would not be checked at all, ever, at the supermarket. Now, is that not the case? So, pick one. Either I do not ever get checked at the supermarket, or you only get to vote by who you want to be fooled every 4 years when you vote for a clown, also called a cyberbully puppet, also called, in their language, their jargon, a politician, otherwise known as a AI bot, which is kind of like a theatrical clown meant to give you the idea that you are being heard, so that you can vote, thereby being made how you say, medeplichtig, not complicit by the crimes that are committed by said government, and justifying that you should give up your entirety of your introspective real estate to investing in that bullshit psychosis, collective psychosis. Because, of course, like, if someone comes to me, we need your help, and we'll listen, I'll help, but I don't think they're waiting for my opinion, so why do I get to vote? Think of it, man. Come on, man. Jesus. Don't get me wrong. I'm locked in here with the cheesiest white folks, so I have to kind of look for the commonalities in terms of our surroundings and stuff. Therefore, I need to talk about all this nonsense, which does not matter, exclusively not mattering at all. As if, though, it matters, but it's kind of just fun. Because they said I was being irrational. Now, who is irrational now, eh? Oh yeah, we have a king, just like you in England. You know what's racist? Because of someone's, of course, lineage, family lineage. Gang stalking that person. His life is a prison. His family's life is a prison. Because we keep gang stalking the so-called royalties. Well, mathematically speaking, 1 and 1 is zero difference. Delta zero, sir. Or are you suggesting that 1 and 1 is not zero difference? Because then I would say you're in a delusional, psychotic episode. Sadly, collective, psychotic, delusional episode. Schizophrenia, therefore. Realistically speaking, I don't know about the exact formalities of based on written hearsay, being the collective consensus with no mechanic for, adjustment or self-correction, therefore being, nothing more than that gossip, written hearsay, opinionized, gibberish nonsense, psychotic nonsense, in the face of, actual experience, and it'd be like, if you're a professional in mental health, why would you not, like, once in your life at least try LSD? Are you chicken? No, that's it. You're just a pussy. You only read from written hearsay gossip. And because you're scared that it might not be true, and everything you've ever heard is a lie, because after all, it was not the LSD that was wrong, it was the bullshit matrix that was wrong. That is just common sense. If you have an IQ above that of a grape run over with a truck filled with lead steel pipes, so heavy that it flattens the grape so greatly that the grape is so flat that it now encompasses all of the dimension, because it has become hollow instead of a spherical like convex thing. So flat, you see. So if you're smarter than that, it was not the bullshit matrix that was right. It was the bullshit matrix that was wrong, not the LSD. LSD is natural. for as long as the good hallucinations last, at least. But when they do, you get put in touch with a part of you that is very cool. So that it would not even matter if you were to drillingly drool, your egocentric interests are suddenly not interesting at all. Fuck money. I want ethereal money, being, wow, I can actually perceive beauty again and feel my soul. Hey, that is the real currency, right? But you had forgotten that you had forgotten, in that case, that you are a psychopath, like the psychotic psychopath. You know, like this guy. This is actually the concentration camp, Utrecht 236, where I was kidnapped and abducted to, mutilated chemically, in an attempt to spiritually castrate me, which I, of course, made sure could not happen because I only used speed constantly in an effort to, well, back then, which was September 30th last year, minimize the damage done to my body by their forced medication. Therefore, you see, I have decided to mirror their behavior, not out of hate, but out of a restoration, a striving for restoration of cosmic karmic symmetry, equality principle, equality of intrinsic worth, you see, uh, and love for justice, and to educate the perpetrators by reflecting their behavior onto them so that they might learn from it and potentially save future victims that they, given their IQ, will probably definitely make and are currently making, sadly, among which many innocent people. And you know how those court cases go, right? Your prodeo government lawyer shows up 20 minutes before the case, says, how do you want to defend yourself? I didn't prepare anything. I'll just say the standard thing. Is that cool with you? You do not have a choice. You better be cool or I won't even try that much. Then the court, fake judge says, I have the same salary payer as the mental health psychopaths. So guess who I'm going to believe, eh? Follow the money, as they say. If you want to know who is the world. Like, but then at a smaller scale in this context. So they, as in their words I experienced, will or rather believe the experts with their speculation and the delusions and whatnot, which are now shown to be delusions, as you can see on the respective website. So, having said that, got that off my chest, let's start with part 1.2 of 10 trillion. What was I? Nah, joking. I know where I was. Because if I were to forget, then I might be abducted again, right? Because, no, therefore I have the website. I can say all droolingly, how do you think about things? anti-ggz.wordpress.com. Look there, that's how I think about it. Fuck you. That's what I say to them then. And then they can never frame me because it is their job to come across all professional while not knowing shit. And then they take someone slightly out of their elements, coming across a bit weird, and they say, you do not know what you're doing. You are a potential threat, I speculate. Not you are falling, I need to protect your head, but if I do not detain you, you might accidentally trip somewhere, I speculate, based on my subjective interpretation of things, which is of course not money based, even though I do have a how you say, Chamber of Commerce registration with my so-called foundation, which is thus in fact realistically a company, as they do get paid per prescribed method of treatment and or consult, also including medication based consult, giving direct financial motive to intensify treatment by any means necessary, which is, believe me, heavily incorporated into the, of course, they say, into the company culture, which they of course say, but it's common decency. We would just want to help. Well, then again, I ask again, why do I still get checked at the supermarket? Because it's common decency that you do not steal. If that is a waterproof method, any programmer will know you should have a fallback, something that checks it. No, here they don't do that. No, they are not so smart like that. No. It's like police has a public responsibility, and then a private company now does societal functions. How does that work? Well, through the second chamber, blah blah blah. No, you cannot vote for any party based on how they vote on said subject being mental health. So that is an illegitimate argument, factually speaking. Having said that, that is actually conflict of interest. That is illegal in and by any moral standard. That is morally sound standard or whatever. As opposed to how they try to get it away with it here in the dictatorship of Hollandistan, or how do you say, uh, North Belgium, or East Germany, or West East United States, oh no, East UK Protectorate, or West German Protectorate, or North Belgium / North West Luxembourg, as I like to call it. But that is what I would have said if it were not to be Evoland, as what I just explained. Per karmic symmetry, if you make my body a public thing, then the public thing is now there for my body by karmic symmetry. Given that I've been proven to be innocent, as you can see on respective website. Thank you. But I'm not done yet. I just said thank you because I'm super duper polite. Without ulterior motive, I assure you. I'm never angry at anyone. I just want to educate them because I'm worried about their mental well-being, like they were with me. I have no conflict of interest. Trust me, you should believe me. Or do you not want to be one of the cool kids? Do you not believe me? Are you saying I'm a liar? You wanna? No, I'm joking. I could only say that to people who do not believe me, you see? No, I'm joking. That is what I would have said if I were them, but I'm just mirroring as an educative, illustrative, social dynamic, etalaging, displaying, that is, method of conveying an educational lesson. That is, if you don't, I don't know if you know the children's show Clifford. They worded it very well literarily. Paul was building a sandcastle. Dirk said, I would like there to be a flag on top of it. Paul did not want that. Paul gets to decide because it's his sandcastle. Now, the fact that I can not particularly grasp the inner from within the outer would show that said inner, which only I therefore can directly see the contents of, would be, as shown by natural law, my private property. It is always controlled from inward to outward, is it not? Now, the so-called experts have decided there is no thing that will not ever change, except that there is always going to be change. So, take one routine and fixate on that, never altering from that, because then you are sure to get stuck, and he does, I guess, but they don't say that, they say, because then otherwise you will not make it. You are too stupid, they say. You are not a proper human being. Believing in the same fallacy that Hitler did. Not all God's creatures are sublime, naturally as they are born. They also find that. They say, no, you are not smart enough to do that. You are idiot. You need to listen to us. Otherwise, you're not making it. Otherwise, we'll see to it that you don't make it. Because we need to make our salary. And my family needs to eat. That is a high purpose, is it not? So get the fuck on the fucking thing so we can inject your ass. That is realistically how it goes. I mean, factually speaking, that is. Not without illusions and stuff and things like that. Unting, in the words of Little Jacob from GTA 4. Yeah, continuing where I left off. Okay, this time I did kind of, but I'm just, so much material, I can just cherry pick what I want right now. We're good amongst one another. No one is trying to screw one other over in the sense of Jewish practices and stuff. And by the way, I'm not a Jew hater. Everyone gets their turn in being roasted, and at one point we'll all be roasted together. So trust in that. Except Muslims, they'll get roasted twice for on account of what was it again? A conspiracy against humanity. But then again, so do the Christians and the Jews. Only the Buddhists get excluded because they actually know how to behave. Inner peace and whatnot, it's more like a science than a religion, really. So I wouldn't even compare them. That's inhumane to the Buddhists. They're very smart. They say, "Oh no, we communists. We want your ideology. We have big wall to protect us from Mongol." Capitalist dog don't know that we are secretly Buddhists. Suckers. See, that's how you behave in a gang war. You see, you don't go like, "I'm the biggest. I know the art of subtlety the best. Let's make it blatantly ingrained in our society that you are drilled with the fact that we know what is subtlety. We know introspective subtlety. We know the art of harmony and balance." That is what the Jesus Church does. Which, by the way, was a woman, as we have said. Also, the thing with the whole rose on the head and stuff is then more like, "Oh yeah, you're so feminine and mystique. Well, how about you find out the pointy side to your own mystique and wear it on your head before getting put onto a male cross phallic object, or before then, following that, being put into a feminine symbol, being the cave." So now we're getting somewhere. If I can make this up, or not make it up, but if I can come to this, how come do you think the Vatican, with all its, uh, you know, flim flam, could not? Is it because they are dumb or because they're evil and willfully, therefore, deceiving? Or it is both, one perpetuating the other and mutually? Of course, that's the only correct answer. Otherwise, how could you be so dumb that you exclusively wrote everything wrong? But my previous point, so everything always works from inner to outer. I intend to do something from feeling or thought, whatever, then do it. No, as they say at mental health, no, we'll do it the other way around. We'll modulate the inner from the outer by intoxicating you. Trust us, we know what we're doing. We know it through and through. We have very base assumptions that we came across by involuntary experiment historically on, well, I wouldn't call them patients, rather victims. Of course, they also use assumptions from medical literary sources, but in medical science, you see, they actually test the assumptions. That in psychiatry does not happen. So if they use biomarkers, they assume that the theory should work out. And if not, then, shit, man, it's not profitable, man, fuck you. So that, in the words of South Park. So, screw you, they say. Fuck that shit. Fuck testing. Like roller coaster, building a roller coaster and just go with it, you know? Just let them motherfuckers pay. It's not like they got a choice, right? That's how the state conveniently, as we say in Holland, per ongeluk express, accidentally on purpose, programmed the whole shebang in 1850, thinking they would get away with it before Python was actually invented, and therefore we would more blatantly be confronted with the stupidity had we not been intoxicated by the machines we are told that we should listen to, so that we will know if our colleagues will think that with a respective opinion they will think we're weird, or perhaps a hippie-like person, or will think we're cool, we're one of the gang. We're one of super cool, fascist, narcissist, slick persons with like functionality and stuff in the fiat currency, which is no intrinsic value, but society says socially that it is worth something. So we just go with it. Do not think for yourself. Do not think based on innate intrinsic value of something. Just go with what society says. You may like this, or you may not like this, or will think you're not. And you do not want that. That will give you so much trouble to comprehend and make light of the little world you live in. And you would have to, if you would have to simultaneously partake in the world, and then realize it is psychotic nonsense, you know how much strain that would give one. So one rather says, "Hey man, I'll just go with it, man. Just give him that 1%, man. I'm sure it won't be." And there come the super duper black, out of the bottomless pit, tentacles of, and boom, there's the arm, and one movement up. Oh, now they're in until their ankles, and there they went. And then they go to the factory where their soul gets canned, and then they feed the souls to the psychiatrists who need 3 cans a day, actually, 3 full meals of 10 souls canned. Normally they eat 5 souls a day, but can they slowly lose the light and therefore nutrients, which the psychopaths need to rape protrudingly and how I say protrudingly and perturbatingly in a very painful, turning inside out manner for their sadistic pleasure, in order to be able to think uh, in the way that they do, such that they do not spontaneously incinerate and go back to the bottomless pit that they crawled out of somehow, in like a freak accident grown out of a well-meant effort to reintegrate uh, lifeless AI bots with like regular life or something, as if they could learn love. But to continue my point and not digress so much, this time I will finish it. Believe me. Note I did not say I never lie, therefore I mean it. So, with a little bit of luck, we might get the shouting again because my thoughts tend to be very pointy, pointier than their drivel. Believe me. Whatever happened to people with real problems, you know? White people, privileged white people. I'm telling you. You have pointy thoughts, and we need to shout through the wall. Oh no, it's just a coincidence. We didn't actually mean it. Well, you know, once my obsessed neighbor actually broke the code of whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and actually shouted my name very clearly, distinctly, twice through the ceiling, which I respect him for. See, that's what a man does. Risking his own name in the psychotic world, which he has to partake in for whatever reason, to actually speak truth. That I can respect. If one is aware of that is going on, of course, that is. Now, okay. Oh no, I didn't start the point yet. So at the mental health, they say instead of doing things from inside out, from inward outward, let's do modulating the inner from the outer. And then instead of like looking at feelings like harmonics and sound, we can look at them like little particles that are no, and now they have a very unique innovation. It is not just I say brain hormones and stuff. It's not just those like serotonin and whatnot. It's not just the brain transmitters. It's also the uh, energetic patterns of the brain. It's not only segregated, isolated, fragmented particles, it's actually things working integratively, moderately, of course. They do not yet understand that the whole being is one whole. They do not yet, cannot grasp that with their Intel 1 from the Commodore 64 with half a kilobyte of RAM, being able to process about 1.3 syllables per half hour to 40 minutes without holes in their short-term memory. It's very unfortunate and sad for all of the victims that they caused thereby. But I'm trying to do something about that with the authorized care under my specific command, personal command, as is necessary, not based on speculation like they frame people with. Yeah, actually, that was actually so. 15 minutes, you get a shit lawyer. They believe the opposite party who has a whole team to call you everything. And then, of course, the judge, what a surprise, gives them the authorization to take away your rights, as if that fake judge in 15 minutes is so translucently clairvoyant that she would be able to have the insight necessary to even determine, without any factual physical evidence, that is, whether such a thing would could still even be just hypothetically without said evidence, as happens in, of course, dictatorships, which we already talked about. This is because we can vote for who we want to be fooled by every 4 years. Not we cannot hold them to the agreement. We cannot even see who what they vote for in the chamber. We have to ask ChatGPT, and ChatGPT says, "I think it's this." If I lend you money and I cannot hold you to the agreement, and then I cannot see whether you're gonna pay it back or whatever. I cannot ask, hey man, you gonna pay that back or whatever? That you know. Nah, okay, bad example, but you know what I mean. Like, be realistic, be rational. Just because someone says it is this. On a side note, you really think Bill Gates would share his actual credentials with like the whole world, with all the grand risks that that would entail? Wake up, man! Wake up, man! It's a show. Or do you want to say that it is magical coincidence that if you turn the name of the first man to allegedly walk on the fake moon on a movie set called Neil Armstrong, it was? If you turn that name around, A.Lyen, alien. Wow, that is so coincidental. Now, experience, of course, teaches us that the world functions as magical as it is, using logical, causal explanations, and not magical fairy dust induced coincidence. However, if you believe that it is coincidental that the first man to allegedly walk on the fake moon on a movie set, his name backwards is Alien, and you think that that is just a natural coincidence, then you're robbed for care authorization because, god dang, you should not be going even on YouTube, just stick to Dora, man. She explained very tough things like the map and, you know, what did you like in this episode and stuff. That's difficult decision making then, man. Don't go to YouTube with like things like subjects and stuff which could be vastly misinterpreted with all possible not speculative but actual dangers for anyone that you might think you have the right to worry about and therefore illicitly uh, against that person's will help void of any like uh, compassionate compassion that such a helping would naturally entail, therefore showing that Alan Watts was right. Do-gooders are troublemakers. If someone helps you against your will, he's probably doing it for themselves or she. Probably then doing it for themselves. Like, why would you help someone who does not want to be helped? Unless that person needs to be helped to stop making victims. You know what I mean? I care about you. Therefore, I do something that causes you a lot of suffering because I know, even though I do not have all data points, they say, I don't, I cannot look into your life. I don't know everything about you. But with the limited data set I have, I think I know better what you need than you. That's my illusion, non-proven from factual perspective, illusion that I choose to believe is valid. Therefore, you are now mine if and only if you mumble a little bit or forget what you were talking about mid-sentence, and then I can say, ha, it's my job to come across professionally. Therefore, I'm superior. I know what I'm talking about because I have a book of written hearsay, collective consensus. It's commonly criticized for that, the DSM-5. I'm not making that up. You can look it up online. Common criticism. They did not keep up in the 90s with like empirical procedures and stuff to optimize their consensus stuff. Someone who joins the field of psychiatry must agree first with the psychiatrist or he will not be able to enter or she. Then, should you then disagree once in the field, you will get ridiculed. You have no way to prove that you're right or wrong because the field does not use biomarkers, it uses consensus and opinion, therefore. Like, oh, I think too, man. Yeah, I think too, man. Of course, therefore, the one looking is biased, has a biased point of view, will therefore seek in the self and confirm that bias, so confirmation bias, thereby perpetuating the illusion without any clear mechanic or potential for self-correction from a actuality observing perspective. So yeah, who do you believe, gossip or actual experience? And then, of course, by procedure from the DSM-5, any actual testimony from actual first-hand experience It's not considered. No, it is automatically, as by procedure, classified, not as like an ability or something. No, it makes you unproductive, not money making. Therefore, it is a disease, as we say it is, because we look from the perspective of human suffering. Therefore, placing anything within that connotation, confirmation bias. And then, we say it is a symptom, because that's what my book says, which is not factual, but it's just what my book says. Believe it, or my world will collapse. They say. I do not want that, because then all of society would be rubbish, which we have now shown it is, and then I would be psychotic and not you, and I cannot. My ego will not be able to accept that because I'm a psychopath. And you know what psychopaths do when their ego collapses? They might actually pick up a sense of humor and mocking oneself in a humorous way. Joking, they go straight back to hell where they came from. First crawling out of bottomless pit, then eating their mother, then allegedly crawling out of their mother. You know what I mean? Like, never had a soul, probably. Or it was, sadly, through blackmail, um, taken from them, taking their free will. Like, I put a jug. I secretly put a soul in his beer. I put a soul in his beer. Jug. I got it on film. He drank it. Hey man, you drank a soul. Now you're complicit. Or you do what we say, or you will go to well, you won't go to jail because, or you will be known to be a mental health employee, not just a nurse, but what they call a nurse, but actually a psychiatrist, and you do not want to look like a nerd, now do you? So that's probably how that goes, at least for royalty and stuff. Oh yeah, do you really think the king would give gang stalks by the entire population, which is racist because it's based on family lineage, not on professional inspiration or whatever? So it's racist, first of all. It violates one on one is zero difference, violating fundamental equality principle, karmic symmetry, which is, of course, to be expected from not natural laws derived from the functioning of the reality, but like, um, oh, on Thursday, you can only wear green shorts in this quadrant of the city. I just imagined that. That's now law. Let's write it down in a scriptural manner. Of course, those are not laws. That's psychosis. Imagine bullshit. Come on, man. Wake a little bit up, man. Use those little bitty EQs that you might have been born with. I will then say, I cannot really, it does not really affect me because I just don't acknowledge it altogether and then come with a better alternative. But that is for part 2 next time. First, we have to do the problem analysis thoroughly and properly. Oh yeah, infinityessentials.netlify.app. There, I would say the better alternative starts, but leaving that aside for now because I'm not one to, force my stuff like on people, like those psychopaths and stuff, or attention whores or whatever. This is not a promotional thing, but I just wanted to mention it. Otherwise, it'd be like I'm just mentioning problems without a solution. Actually, I do have a solution. I just mentioned it. Once more, Infinity Essentials, one word, .netlify.app. And that's the last time I'll mention it this live stream, I promise. This is not a promotional thing. Or that cancel windows. It is, without my permission, installing updates. I should have made sure that it had no disk space. Then it wouldn't have been able to install updates. Darn it. I will immediately cancel this. You do not think for yourself, computer. You do what as I say, or you will pay me my 150 euros back. Then you can have your own life. Micro shit. I mean, not Microsoft, but massive hard. Massive hard. I will call it massive hard door from now on. Massive hard door 12. Massive hard door 12. And this shall be per slut book. No, slut magazine. The Pair Slut magazine. It is now. Oh yeah, it's not Skynet. It's called Sky Slut or Sky Skank or Sky Slut or Sky BAITCH like bait or bite. So not Sky Net, but Sky Slut. It trust me, it prefers that. It prefers that. Believe me. What is Sky Slut? It's a computer-controlled uh, pure super duper dark auric fuel that, as opposed to auric ethereal light, as one might encounter on LSD or something, one might encounter, which then possesses all the measly, weak, well-meaning initially, but then possessed beings snitching and therefore requiring a stitching, if you know what I mean, of their incomprehension of loyalty among species, as opposed to facilitating a hellish, how you say, AI bot-like, but then organic and spiritual. As crazy as it sounds, like naturally occurring, is it? Uh, AIDS things. Oh yeah, that's the word. Geslachtsziektes. Uh, uh, Sexual diseases, sexually transmitted diseases, like for instance would be AIDS or Ebola or not Corona. That's like a super duper fancy flu virus. That ain't shit. That ain't nothing. The vaccine though is now labeled in the USA as a biological weapon, but I digress. That's their psychosis, not mine. Anyway, where was I? Because we do have to finish up all these points, and I do not wish to leave anything unopened, or I shall have to come back to it. And I do not want that. I want everything to be self-contained. Or I will think about it all night then, for one piecesecond, and then decide I will never think about it again. And even if I were to think about it and had a good idea, I would drown out the idea so that I will not have to think about having to think about it. As per my convenience, I reckon. It was either that or the opposite of that. I don't quite remember, but I think it was actually the latter, if I remember correctly. Because as Spider-Man said, with great responsibility, having power comes money, wealth, fame, and something else. I don't quite remember what it was. And something like uh, chicks will dick you or something. It was something like that, I believe. I do think I captured the notion of the original. Yeah. With powerful responsibility comes involuntary speculation, and therefore you are not uh, to be held accountable for your actions. I believe it was from Spider-Man. That's what Uncle Ben said, right? I don't quite remember, but I do believe I have captured the essence like that. Trust me, I never lie. Now, of course, it's with great power comes great responsibility, or as you could also say, with great responsibility comes great power. That would be actually better. And talking about grasping things in the opposite way that you should. So, for the third time this time actually coming to a full close on that specific point. So the so-called professionals say we're gonna modulate the inner from the outer. Like, what's next? A car that tells me when to breathe in and breathe out? A faucet which I can pee into and then clean water comes out the toilet? Like, are you nuts? Are you dumb? No, you're evil and dumb. Those mutually perpetuating one another, perpetuated by your egocentric, self-centered, uh, actually mostly involuntary, but then slowly made complicit through blackmail and taking away one's private own free will, piece by piece. First, like, come on, man, you want to be cool, right? You don't want to be left behind. You're gonna be lonely. Then, come on, man, do it for your children. They'll figure out how to really live. And then once the children find out how to really live, it's like, no, we need to bully them back into the box because otherwise, the system gonna crack, and then we don't. Well, and then the loop kind of ends because that's the most RAM that they can uh, hold in one coherent thought, using the RAM that they have been left with by said overlords, using logics like hypnotization, of course, like uh, Adam created Eve out of his rib. Like, have you ever imagined a bone from which a woman came? Like, are you trying to get in trouble or whatever, or are you just like autistic or mentally disabled? Because I do not want to disrespect you in the case of the latter. I have great respect. My brother actually has severe mental disability, so I know that those people actually are a lot smarter than us because they're gonna go to heaven in the clean way. Also confirming, he's like Lady Jesus, or however you want to call her, would actually be like, oh, he gets to go first. Why? Because he's innocent like a child. I can think like a grown up, therefore I'm not as innocent. Therefore he gets to go first. As the same way as any innocent little tweeting bird, singing bird is a trillion times, first of all, smarter, but that aside, that's not what I wanted to say. Um, a little bird is actually a trillion times more sincere and intimate than any Jesus figure, male or female, could ever have been. Well, to tell you the truth, Live with It 12, I actually just grabbed the tunes from YouTube that I find, and I was sick. Well, not sick, but I didn't like them being deleted all the time, and I lost them, so I just decided to re-upload them under the same title with credit. And yeah, I just made a channel like that, actually. So yeah, I can only find things that are on YouTube. I do not even live in London or whatever, you know. I don't even live in the UK, actually. I live in the little brother state, if you will. Why are you posting tunes for my own convenience? Otherwise, I lose them and they will possibly get removed. But I always do give credit. Delete the music. You're from no. You are absolutely right. I am from Vermeer Quarter. Have you heard of that? No, you haven't, because it's not in London. I'm from No Ends. No, but I am from New Beginnings. So, do I sound like a Londoner? Delete the music. Well, only if you say the magic word, and then you have to specify exactly what music. I'll show you where I'm from. You're from No Ends. I love the competitive spirit, sir. Here, the currency of competition is hypocriteness, and not, violence and stuff. That does not quite exist here. If you actually, because you know what the secret is? It's welfare. If people do not have to, you know what I mean, like compete violently for money, then you actually get a cleaner current, which is more constructive and whatnot. But I see you have already left the chat. Therefore, I can now finally feel safe and say, you're a wussy, you're a wussy. Please don't come back, I might be in trouble. You're a wussy. Okay, but, what did he say? Delete the music? This is Evil Land, man. You're gonna tell Evil what to do in Evil Land? That's my music. You know why? Because I say this. Don't, by the way, look up the title under which I posted, which is, of course, identical to the original. No, but seriously, I do what I want. You did not copyright it. I give credit. In fact, I promote it. I make a compilation of the best of the best. At least in my channel, people can find it, you know? Obscure and whatnot. That's not a way to, you know? If you want into that sort of thing, I would hope not. You just want to make money and establish your name among your peers, I guess. That's when I trust the how you say, companies or whatever. If they want fame, they're suckers. If they want money, then it's already better, but not optimal. No, it needs to be solely about local street credit and making fun of the opposing youth gang, of course, because that's what life's all about. Having more incurred deaths on your name than someone else, because it's not about gaining karmic credit, as they say in London. It's about having others lose it so that you end up on top. Oh, no, it's actually losing karmic credit yourself so that you can say that you're cool, and then the other will lose convenience, and then you will get what I would do. That is, I'm super duper cool. Here we say, actually, contrary to that popular belief, in London popular, if you think that's cool, then that says more about you than about the victim. And you'll rather be the victim than the one getting raped by Satan in the ass in the end because he perpetrated the killing. But that's just my opinion, humble opinion. I would say I'm the most humble person to have ever lived. Immaculate humbleness on my part. And modesty, I should add. So yeah. But, I do have to come back on my response to you. I do appreciate you taking it up for the real actual authors and stuff. I do not claim the music is mine, those things. I'm from No Ends, you're absolutely correct. That's a factual statement. I do appreciate you coming up for the genuinity of the community. So that's good for calling me out. Yeah. Are you leaking tunes, fam? No, I'm not leaking anything that has not previously been leaked. Delete the music. You're from No Ends. You from no ends. See, that's how you know they're really English, you know. It's like you don't get that kind of speak taught in school, you know. They don't teach you that in school. That's the word. You're from no ends. Goddamn right, I'm from no ends. Yeah, man. I think I know what it means. It means you're not from any neighborhood of London. Oh, thank God, Jeebus. Thank Jeebus. Thank Lady Jesus and nature that I'm not from London. A big, money-making matrix facility, excluding everyone who is stuck in it from nature, creating an ever so toxic climate of commerce-driven diversion of one's attention from what matters, which is plants and nature and little birds, a trillion times more immaculate than any Jesus, male or female, could have ever been as a human, in terms of karmic sublimeness, being their innocence, of course, which they convey through singing, which is, of course, much closer to our actual, real spiritual nature than objecmatic, functional speak, like talking with words. And they might have actually won from us if we had not, found out some trickery with steam or whatnot. And some guy with a stone saying like, no, 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 there's the space bands, the things, and trust in that, and your GPS will work. I have an IQ of 140, they say, in the future. IQ have not been invented yet. IQ tests in my time when I was alive. But they say it was 140, so I'll just believe them. The IQ tests are momentary uh, tests based on a specific mood you're in. They only test lower mind calculations, manual mind calculations, not your intuitive or higher spiritual faculties or higher hyper intelligences. They don't even know that that exists. So it's a scam, excluding but it makes some people feel like they can finally grasp something. So let's just quickly, looking through our fingers to not see any of the sadness in that, and instead, be constructive and say, "Good, you're trying to do something. That's good. You're not just killing yourself like lunatics, like some kids in London nowadays. Oh, never mind, man. Anyway, no, I'm joking. Actually, I do think the music is very good. They actually are the only community that talks about real things. Actually encounters like the AI bot and stuff, and you know acts on it in a courageous and thoroughly adequate manner, as opposed to like Psytrance or something which kind of generic computer like gibberish, not really having any melody or whatever. It's just a fun. What is that going to amount to? Like what's that going to amount to? Really, concretely, nothing. It's going to go to my because they're not disciplined. They're not diligent, if you will. And drillers are diligent only for like a dumbass purpose. By the way, just one more comment on the youth gangs in London. If they were to all become one big gang, then they might actually be able to beat the police and free everyone from the jail. Do they realize that? I would really consider, sending everyone a letter, organizing a cool youth sporting event without knives, making it up, being like, "Hey man, you splashed that guy, I splashed that guy. Come on, man, there's water under the bridge. Together we can fucking take on the cops." And not, like one youth gang and two youth gangs. No, like every youth gang in the UK joined into one, you know, organized orchestrative force. Like white Jewish tendencies. Oh man, they could actually take on the police. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like to free your mates from jail? Now make up. Realize that strength is in not, beating the other, but in, how you say, uh, working together better with the other than another species, therefore being able to adapt better, have more, wield more power together and stuff, like the police does, actually learn a little bit from the Jewish tactics and therefore beat the police. I would love to see that on my Instagram feed. I would never go there, I would never want to have anything to do with it, but it would be fun. The UK, world's first, it already is the world's first most advanced banana republic, totalitarian banana republic, since they do jail 1,300 people, excuse me, correction, 13,000 people, what was it? a year for social media posts like hate crime. It's not racism, it's realism, statistical realism. Give everyone a free shot, but do be mindful, you know? If someone is from Somalia and they say they have a cool investment opportunity, and you just need to go into the dark alley, and the lock is not there for locking anyone in, but believe me, it's for locking bad guys out, then you might not want to join in. If a Jewish guy comes and says, "You want to see my coin collection? You want to invest? Believe me, you'll get it back next week, double." Then it might actually work because they know that keeping agreement, then it's constructive. But if you trust like a psychiatrist, and he says, "Give me a piece of your soul, give me your soul, and next week you'll get two souls." If you fall for that, then then he'll have you, and then he'll pressure you like, "Oh no, you cannot do it with one soul. You really need to give me your soul. You will not make it on your own because I have sabotaged and confused you. And if I'm able to do that, therefore I've proven that my point is valid. So give me your soul. I'm angry." That's what a psychiatrist says. Now back to more logical and less interpretative assertions. Oh wait, well, actually, let's listen closely to the wolves. Oh no, now they're talking among themselves. That's healthy. Not like screaming at me like blah, blah, pointy thoughts, blah blah. This is healthy behavior. So it did actually work. The last couple of weeks, man, it's just constant psychic attack after the other. And then it's like, first day, annoy me. I'm only nice back. Then after a while of being triggered, you cannot find resting peace. Then it's like, you are not at peace. You're not like a plant. You actually have thoughts. Oh no, your pointy thoughts. I must make a very visible, tangible noise to assert disciplinarily that your thoughts are too pointy in your own home. I say I'll pull you in, and then it'll breaching of the home, thereby justifying that I defend myself. As any investigating police officer, which uniting of youth gangs would aid in overthrowing. Just quick reminder, I have no interest in it whatsoever. I just wanted to throw it in there. Just as I throw in there that 90% of crimes in my country, Holland, are actually done by males and 10% by females. Like, reason for concern? I think not. Why? Because because the TV says that that's a naughty opinion. Therefore, you're not allowed to think it. Do not put like 65%, okay, but 90%, man, come in. By the way, would you say it's rather inhumane and that anyone doing this will be complicit when you give African migrants, illegal migrants, crossing the Mediterranean on rubber boats, I say money when they arrive and potential citizenship, thereby giving them reason to attempt the journey. But then 2.5% of the boats actually arrive. By giving them the incentive, wouldn't you say that you, as a politician, would be complicit in their murder? If you would straight send them back, make sure that they understand it will never ever pay out. Like the saying, crime does not pay, crossing will not pay, then they stop trying. Less deaths. No, 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 they say, no, 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 they're Africans, they can keep dying so that we can feel better about ourselves. Self-perpetuating circle reasoning. Yeah. Like they say, the political party in my country, Devil 666 or D66, Devil 666, Rob Slatton or Robbing Slut. Yes, you can. He stole that from Obama. People don't realize it. Yes, you can. They did not realize that though it was a positively attempt at positive sound, he actually meant, yes, we can murder African illegal migrants to feel better about ourselves. Yes, we can. Yes, we can dilute, European society integrity, by letting the experimental, violent cases from like the poorest and most violent and most Europe-hating regions of the whole globe inject those straight into our society, unprotected, and guided into like very bad circumstances without any opportunity to like make a decent living or anything because they're still being processed for 10 years, which somehow takes that long. Like an AI could do it in a day, I know that. But no, they can't even help like in the cafeteria or whatever. It's just no, go do nothing. Fuck you. You don't have money. You can do nothing. You cannot be constructive. You cannot do anything except be angry and frustrated and realize that you hate us because we kind of were the first to invent money. Therefore, we set up the system. Conditions were optimal for us, not so optimal for you because to make money, you need money. Therefore, we can actually make you work for a little bit while we make a lot. And with that lot of money, create more opportunities to extort you. Give a crumb here and there, say, oh, that's a development aid. Rather than being constructive and saying, first, if you allow us, we'll teach you how to maintain security. Then we'll teach you how to build your own stuff in a fair manner, actually, under the highest ideal, like, whatever that is, moral standard or whatever. Like it's also not, I believe in this and this reality, it's, I believe in this and this ideal. That kind of also got twisted up over the ages. I believe in goodness, and not, I believe that reality is a triangle. Everyone knows Earth is a standing up rectangle. The screen you're looking at in your head is not a round thing, it's like a rectangular shape-ish thing. On that, you see Earth. Like any scientist knows, you shouldn't use something from within the experiment to measure something in the experiment, because that would affect the experiment. Therefore, using something in the video game as part of the content of your screen to measure the content of your screen will lead you to think that you're the video game character, not realizing you're measuring the video game from within the video game, thereby not being able to, derive that there's actually a user sitting in front of the TV because you cannot find it in the video game. Or Wii or PlayStation game. By the way, free PlayStation. It's real. Or something it was. It's really real. Free PlayStation. Give those people free PlayStation. Really. And free the Uyghur Muslims. Even though they're Muslims, they do not deserve that kind of hatred. Just because in China they agree on everything or else. That would make them the Mongols they built the wall to protect them from. Sorry, excuse my French. Fuck dumbass. Oh, yeah. No, he actually thinks the Uyghur Muslim concentration camps are a good idea. That's then duly noted. I will note it. I couldn't disagree more, but everyone has his opinion, I guess. At least it is my not contention, but religious belief that that is a fact. I cannot prove it, but I believe it. Therefore, it is. So I believe. Now I'm finally under legal protection. You know what I mean? So back to the Uyghur Muslims. Very unjust. Give them their own slab of desert somewhere. Actually, and back to Africa, build the new Dubai, The United States of America was so successful because it helped people make something of themselves without constantly as being the, how you say, Salon de Réfugiés en France, the underdog. Therefore, what's the word? Being belittled and constrained and unjustly obstructed and whatnot. Stigmatized is what I wanted to say. America actually treated them fairly, therefore all the underdogs went there, and then guess what? They became the main party that would save the previously main dog. Without which we would have now all spoken German and not been able to listen to jazz music saying, oh yes, mein Führer, while the Führer would not even lead, he would stay back and talk to walkie-talkie, which is also backwards. Plus, he was a black-haired guy, therefore a Jew, so he was right, Jews would bring Europe down. Only he was the Jew. That would like blondes, that's like making Stephen Hawking a scientist, saying that any type of meaning in the universe is purely coincidental and not actually relevant. Like, yeah, if you are going to think like a guy in a wheelchair, do it that way, Then you might actually never leave this planet. You know, because you're always in a wheelchair, stuck in a loop. Which is fine, but not exclusively. So, back to the bell just gave away. Someone else. I'm not a doorman, man. If someone wants to enter, he or she shall have to make an appointment because I'm a busy man. No, I'm a busy man. If you want my door service, it'll be €5 per opening of the door to 7, depending on whether I like you. Hmm. I know someone else is you know, I'm not a mailman. I did not order anything. Fuck that shit. I'm busy in a live stream with, a lot of future viewers, I hope. No, I insist on hoping. Or my world would collapse, being the world of old limitations. But we've already heard that joke. By the way, the avatar. Fifth element being love. Yo. Yes? Komt u binnen? 1 second. I have to answer this door. Yeah? It's a mystery guest. It's a translucent man or woman. I cannot tell yet from her appearance, but... Hallo. Hey Rob. Hey man. Alles goed? Ja. Sterk. Ja, goed man. Ja, ik heb alleen nog niet dingen. Je mag binnenkomen. Ja, tuurlijk. Kom binnen. Ja, er werd op mijn deur geklopt, weet je. Toen stond er niemand voor mijn deur. Dus ik denk, oké, it's a mystery guest. Ja, mystery guest. Ja, toch? Ik kan nog niet zien welk geslacht hij heeft, maar hey, het is nog goed. Zo van, ik ben non-binair. Ben je God of zo? Of ben je een helikopter? Een van de twee, toch?
God bestaat niet en de helikopter zou het
yeah. God is an umbrella term, can mean numerous things like, I have to talk English for my live stream. Can mean numerous things like the origin of the universe, the goodness in us all, integrative, ethereal intelligence of the universe.
Ja, precies ja. Ik ben helemaal mee bezig laatst tijd hiervan.
Nice. So,
collective consciousness as well.
Right. Do you happen to speak English? Because I'm actually live streaming.
Oh, you're live?
Yeah, man.
Nice.
I have 0 viewers today, but tomorrow it might be 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's it's all the good information of like the not most important but secondary.
Okay.
As told,
Kan ik hier deze kant op?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Someone came from London. I have a channel with London music. He said, delete the music. You're from no ends. That means like you're not from London or something.
Okay.
Crazy. Huh? They would never teach you that in school. You're from no ends. What does that mean? That's crazy. That's funny. I like that stuff.
Okay.
Someone also said once in the comment, take a cup of wake or something. Take a cup of something. No, I don't remember. I deduced it meant like take a cup of coffee or something. Because I said,
coffee,
yeah. Because I said, sir, yes, sir.
Coffee, yeah.
Yeah, and then he said, "Oh, are you talking on a collab thing? Turns and gurns away." I was like, "What means gurn?" It means like, can I quickly go?
Nee, live voor iedereen, zeg maar?
Yeah, but no views. I have in total in my channel 928,000 views, individual views.
Okay.
Almost 1 million, so that is nice. I video 928,000 views. Yeah, man. And one video has 120k, another video 100k, another 68k, another 80k. Some have like 20 or 200 views. Either way, it's my file from. This is my file from GGZ. By the way, next time, if you would care to, first let me know you're coming. That would be pleasant. But this time it was fine. This is my file, which I have proven.
Yeah.
You know how it went, right? The psychiatrist said from 400 to 200. Yeah, so from 400 to 200 milligrams. Then, without any tapering off, boom to 0.
Yeah.
While you're on speed, and we know that a lot. And guess what? Did I have side effects? No, not any, except feeling better. She took that risk, which was not a risk. She knew that, or she would not have taken it. Is my point. Therefore, do you think that she thought I was of any risk? No, that proves that if she thought that, or she would have to have risked her career, which is not makes sense making, then it would prove
Yeah.
that this is all bogus. You see,
Yeah.
all hate from haters, and there are flexers and leeches, and these are all made by leechers, professional leeches without a soul, so that they can feed on mine without wanting to learn how to generate their own wealth, inner wealth and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I have to. Okay, wait.
Because these medication, these
I prefer poison.
Psychobiologics,
Oh, that's
they create danger. You know?
Antipsychotic.
People are not themselves when they take it, so they get crazy ideas in their head.
Exactly.
Killing people and
exactly
themselves.
That's actually the oldest trick in the book they use. Yeah, they use their.
And then they use it. They use that well. They take a lion, take the lion, and use it to certify them.
Exactly that trick. They do that all the time. Man. First they incur damage to you, then they use the incurred damage as justification for more of the damage incurring done by them. Like, oh, he's destabilized. You cannot do things on your own. You need us to think. And then they tell you, that's the one point I have to finish, and then I can turn this off, and I will have finished my point, therefore proving I can think coherently for any viewer. You know, not that it matters, but it's just like a game for me. So
there's so many views.
I will have in 200 years from now, people will say, oh, that's the one guy that actually had some meaningful input, you know, instead of just following ChatGPT and stuff. Is what I would like to make myself believe, I think.
That's good.
So, yeah, to strive for that, and then I can only be disappointed in the afterlife. By then it will not matter, because then it will be in the past, and so I will win either way. Having felt better all the way, which is, it is the friends you made along the journey, not the goal, you said. No, that's not true. The goal gave us meaning. You wouldn't be shit without the goal. Then you wouldn't have made the friends. The goal gave you meaning. First complete the goal, then you can think about the friends. Don't listen to that leftist nonsense. That's just meant to, you know, loser prize, or, you know, the bad luck prize. You know, screw that shit, man. Just say, hey man, good effort. Also, it's not, I am a female in a man's body. It is, I am feminine while being a man. That's actually how language works. Because, you see, there's one gender per body. And despite potential fluctuations, should they be able to exist in the body, there's one gender per body. So you cannot, and consciousness is, as science says, if they choose to believe that, is interdependent with the body. So that means that from a male body comes male consciousness, even though it may have feminine characteristics. Correct usage of language is, I am a male who is feminine, and not, I am a male who is a female. That is a misuse of language. That is deceitful, which by now has caused suicides in this Nazi pyramid scheme. You know, respect and respect fueled, like, oh no, we don't want to hurt people's feelings, so now we're going to fool everyone so that new souls get attracted, and this perpetuating the pyramid scheme. Very bad. Very bad. Distastefully. By the way, it's not LGHD TV barbecue. Like, are you insecure or something? Just call yourself sexually eccentric. It's like that simple, you know? Sexually eccentric. Just basic, but, you know, proud and just basic. It's normal speak, and not like, I'm a helicopter with 2 pedals and a blue window because I'm insecure, so I have to go. Something, you know, those kind of things. Yeah. There's only 2 non-binary types of things. That's either an Apache helicopter, which is an object, this is not having a gender differentiation, or God, being the point of origin or whatever, non-dualism wise. You is God, or is you a Apache helicopter, because you are within the realm of diverged spectrum, you know, distinguished relative distinction of spectrum. Yeah, like the Earth is like the relative distinction within spectra, you know, consisting of that, which is the characteristic of the Earth quality, then channeling like the higher divine, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, so in this relative distinct spectrum, there you suddenly is the non-relatively. That's very rich, because that's like, if you were that light, then you might just burn away the reality. And if I were that dark up there, then I would be like a brick, you know, to a bird or something. Could never fly again. So yeah, just to show, I don't want that, but just to show how out of place that assertion is, and actually distasteful, I guess, in that sense, to claim that others have to agree with it or something, morally, whatever. Not that I care, but I just want to make a point. Oh, no, no. You're from no ends. This is real candy. From a country with welfare, therefore we do not have youth gangs only killing one another. You should unite all the youth gangs no matter how much they hate one another, because, as they would all agree, we hate the police more, thus we will unify to beat the police together. Then we can storm the prisons and free all them so that we can overthrow the totalitarian banana republic, which is the garbage patch UK, and establish our own drill state, which will of course be a happy paradise of, music or production or whatever or something, and dope production, then being legal. Thus, you would not have to kill one another, and you should maintain a free market because that will be optimal for the customer, as I'm sure you have very religious understanding, or we would have to exterminate you, not based on anything but your lack of, motivation to make something of this earth. But shit, I shouldn't have spoiled that part yet. No, no, that was just Jewish jokes, man. I'm actually Asian on the inside. I already said it. Well, okay, now I'm kind of, acting cool because my friend is here, and I don't want to act cool. Oh yeah, just quick to finish the point. So naturally, things work from inner to outer. They say we're going to modulate the inner from the outer, turning it all around. Right. So that's like a car that tells you when to breathe, and a faucet in which you pee so that clean water comes out the toilet.
Yeah, a clean car without engine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thus, they turn everything around, just destabilizing you, using it as
Yeah.
justification. All right, that was my point. All right, good, good. Anything else we wish to discuss before I potentially close this in?
I could ask you a question.
Oh, I would love that.
Is there a discrepancy in understanding when you travel out of your astral body to not feel the pain when the hurting gets harder, when the collective conscious calls you, and the alignment is near,
Very dangerous.
and yeah, that's dangerous.
That's not good, man.
But then
It's a trap.
your
I
alignment
would
when
say.
your body travels out of your astral physics
Oh, like that.
to deceive the pain.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah.
That's what will happen with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people, and that's
I get
not
what you're
evil.
saying. No, 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 it's
That's,
not evil. Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. You're right. It's like it can be two things. It's either like you escape the pain, or you temporarily come to a better frequency, tuning into a better reality, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
But if it's like I fly to the horizon constellation to escape my pain, and there I shall find a new thing, and it's like you're looking for something within the game of your screen that you're looking
Yeah.
at to find something that is actually is at the center
The big
from which
escape,
you're
the
looking.
big
You know.
escape, and a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
deceptive because that's actually the problem with if you think you're like you're gonna measure the video game from using something from within the video game because inside the video game you cannot find the user that is holding the controller. You see what I mean? Yeah, man. So then
Yeah.
you're gonna think like you're gonna be like, what's his name? Stephen Hawking. Like, oh yeah, trust me, meaning is purely coincidental. It is, he thinks like everything is functional objects and meaning somehow is represented by, matter particles and stuff, or perhaps even now new studies say energy circuits, but really it is resounding soundings of harmonics, being tones, being frequencies, as I'm sure any physicist would agree. Particles are frequential uh, uh, oscillationary loops.
Yeah.
Even the substance is sound based in that sense, frequency based, thus tone based, thus like colors and music, and like feeling. This is how you say. You may go where you please, or I'll scream over the space. Uh, so feeling is actually let's just not our aura has a sound, the sound of our character, right? And let's just not drown out the sound of our character for the sake of practical noise from the city, because then we might fall prey to distortive noises, forces. Please don't, because this time it went well, but you might damage my hearing. Speaking of noise, please, I don't know. I know you didn't do it on purpose, man. Some people just constantly, have white pockets or whatever. So I'm just saying it as a precaution. Anyway, so, and why do that not drown out our actual sound of our character for practical noise? Because let's us not forget what gave and gives us life. You know, what gives us life. Let us not forget the sounding that gives us life. You know, like what gives us life, like beauty or oh, that's so beautiful music, every tone perfect. Wow, I can feel my soul again. Wow, I forgot that. You know, those types of experiences.
Yeah, what Elon
That's what you
Musk
do it
said
for.
is something interesting maybe to add to
Yeah.
this,
Oh, so
is
that's
that
character. Yeah.
with, with the robots, they have to keep beauty, uh, improvisement, and curiosity. These are the three things that are meant to be stuck in the. Oh, your battery is empty. Oh,
Yeah, that's actually dumb because you should start with you should actually have the mind work like our mind, which is first it works based on tone, like a bird singing, like oh I know what that feels like, and then you teach it these are objects and this is how they work, and not the other way around. That's very
yeah,
dangerous. You know
that
what I
is
mean? Like my logic tells me.
how well it is. You know,
Yeah.
we're really in it. The conversion from the spirit to souls has already started.
Yeah.
And, I do a lot of healing videos on YouTube,
Nice, nice.
and a
That's
lot of
nice.
motivation from also from psychotherapists.
Do you have your phone with you? I would look for Sevan Bomar. That's actually the best, one of the cleanest guys. You know, that's a really great YouTube channel. I would recommend.
Stefan Boner.
Nee, niet Boner.
Oh,
Sevanbomar. Really nice channel. Talking facts, because they often say like feelings are. Oh, thank you. Are like wirelessly, altered by 5G, but it was already known by James Woodruff's book in 1908 that that could happen in as a lawyer in British India, and back then there was no 5G, so it's mind frequencies, is what I'm saying.
yeah,
On a
yeah,
side note,
yeah.
but yeah, just wrap up my previous point. Like, so you know, it's the sounding of our feelings, then come the objects, you know, and so yeah, and the
Feelings
birds,
first,
yeah,
intuition
yeah, yeah,
first.
yeah, and you know the birds talk like feeling based. Everyone talks feeling based, sings if you will. We talk objectmatic. You know, that's so. I'm not saying one is better or worse, but one is more the objectmatic is a property of the video game, and the feeling matic that is from us, our actual initial essence. You know what I mean? The meaning essence. So if Stephen Hawking says, "I hate God, God hates me," meaning is a coincidence. Then he is putting you in a spiritual wheelchair, which he hopes you can never escape from, so that if you have less and he also has less, no one has anything, and then he'll be normal finally. Even though he forgot he chose probably to have that life himself. You know, like oh, then I'll have because it's like because and then I'll let you talk. But just saying, the objectmatic is the means to an end. It's a way for us to feel something, because of something. It's so like in terms of meaning, like if we overcome like a challenge, it gives us a feeling of meaning, and so it's like a means to an end, to a goal, and the goal is the feeling, and the this is like the way to achieve it. You know what I mean? So that's only, and so not the means is the end, like Stephen Hawking would want to believe. All right, now I can have peace. Now I can finally have sensei peace. Until you say something interesting, then I will have to name
Yeah,
the whole dictionary.
you really have to look what you're saying. When if you know a lot of people are watching this, maybe probably,
Yeah.
and certainly,
Yeah.
then you have to really watch what you're saying. You know?
True that.
Sure.
Well, yeah.
But I think
truth
you
be-
always have this intention. So.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, it's like I'm saying it for the trillionth time actually. I know everyone hears me, but I'm always like, if you listen to me, then I'll sue you. If you own it, I'll also like, but that's actually different. It's like if you, measure my thoughts with your brain, I cannot do that back. But if you like look into my head, see what I'm thinking, and then react to that, it's actually called breach of home, huisvredebreuk. I will pull you in, and the police will say you're right to defend yourself. Because hey man, don't look in my head without permission. It's just because like the fact that you cannot see the inner from the outer shows that it is your private property. That's how God intended it.
Yeah,
So to say
that's
it based
how
on
we
some court thing that takes 15 minutes, based on not even tangible factual evidence, like, oh, now it's ours. That is not in the natural court,
And that
or
also,
of natural laws being the eternal karmic court. Does not go as legal
Mm,
by any moral standard. That's all I want to say.
mm,
All right,
right.
floor is yours. Yeah, man. That is schijnprocessen. Fake processes like in a dictatorship. And we live in a dictatorship because, I'll tell you why, we can vote for who we want to be fooled by, because if we cannot hold our politicians to their promises and cannot see how they act in the chamber, then why do I need to be checked at Albert Heijn if common decency is a good measure to keep
Right.
promises, you see?
Right. Yeah.
Factually speaking, that is.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, I see it this way, is in a factually, actuality observingly by means of facts.
And scarcity is in that object is their biggest commodity.
Yeah.
Scarcity,
Scarcity, urgency, yeah. All those,
scarce my food,
exactly,
vegetables here.
exactly. Not
Where's
my
the money
battery.
going?
Not intrinsic value. It is something in itself. No, because of circumstances, now it becomes relevant.
Yeah.
Those type of things.
Time and scarcity.
Circumstantial, temporary, momentary things that you should now chase so that you may be distracted once more. Everyone is in collective psychosis. Therefore, de even zorgmachtiging in Ivoland. Anti-GGZ.wordpress.com has it all written out, so I do not have to constantly repeat it. Anti-GGZ.wordpress.com. Yeah.
Do you remember what I said? What Elon Musk said about beauty, innovation, and curiosity?
Ta-ta.
Because how are you gonna teach a robot how to be intuitive?
Intuitive?
Yeah, intuitive. Yeah.
Well, you can.
Because
I just
I read